October 3rd, 1978. 10:30 a.m. rainy. 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Tuesday. Dear Joy, Bo, Howie, Wendell, and David, I finally did get dressed. These cool, damp mornings, it keeps me warm to keep on my robe, and sometimes I get caught with it on when some TV customer comes in. We had a little frost one night last week that curled the leaves of the squash, but most things weren't hurt much. Yesterday p.m. at 3 o'clock, Marilyn came over and we went to the raspberry garden and together picked 4.5 quarts of big berries. Marilyn made raspberry jam with hers and I gave Dorleen a quart. We'll eat the rest. Dad surely enjoys the big, juicy red berries in his lunch when he goes to work at the church. He went this a.m. despite the drizzle, but since it has rained harder, so don't know if he can lay cement blocks. Yesterday, Mr. Hammond was there with Uncle Ira and Dad to get half the new basement floor poured, troweled, and finished. The problem was when the big Readi-Mix truck came with its heavy load, the driver couldn't listen or wouldn't listen to Dad about where to drive. He drove down towards the swamp and down went the whole truck. Then Leo went and got a heavy piece of machinery from Sutherland's gravel company to pull him out. It took until 1:30 p.m. to get the Readi-Mix truck out and get the cement hauled by wheelbarrow into the basement until the load was light enough so they could get the truck in place to really unload. Uncle Ira and Dad shoveled and lifted and wheeled until they were about exhausted, and finally it was unloaded. Mr. Hammond got it nice and smooth. Last evening, Dad's back was so tired his back muscles cramped, so he could hardly lie down to relax. I was worried the cramps might be partly his heart, but he finally relaxed when Jerry and Junior came in to visit a bit. This morning he felt better and said his back only cramped once in the night. It really annoys Dad when Leo comes to help at the church, for he mostly talks and gets in the way asking questions, and when he could be working, he finds an excuse to go home or anything but really do heavy labor. Yesterday and today, Pastor Chuck, Kate, and girls are gone away to some place up north where Chuck is doing his bow hunting of deer. Last Saturday, Pastor Chuck did help lay blocks a while and did a good job, too. They are laying blocks for the furnace room now and have just 2 more rows, I think. Up high, it's hard as they have to use a scaffold and lift the heavy blocks. Most of the young men of the church have to work days, so they just aren't available to help. Sunday, we had 78 at church. That's the most we've had for regular Sunday morning services. Some of the Sunday school classes are so big they really need to split up again or have teachers' aides. It surely seems good to have to worry about not having seating space enough. One of the nicest parts of the Sunday morning service was the song sung by the junior choir. Susie plays piano, and Lizzie is training these youngsters, and it was really good. There must have been about 15 kids, and many have such nice voices, and all are enthused. They practice on Wednesday nights before prayer service. After church on Sunday, Juniors and Jerry's and Blanca and Baby came for dinner, and we had such a nice time together. Oh yes, Laura's boyfriend Ed came too. After dinner, Laura, Ed, and Jody went over to Pastor Chuck's, as Chuck and Ed are both bow hunters and had bows to talk over. Jody went horseback riding at Osgood's with Ruth. It was a lovely day. Last Saturday evening, the people of our church had a big wiener roast around a huge campfire in the valley behind the church. They used the small branches from the whole top of the big maple tree they cut east of the church. There were so many people, I don't know how many. Young folks played games, and we visited before dark and after the roast. We had a worship time around the campfire led by the director from Camp Living Waters. It was a good evening. Jerry and Dorleen are taking Mark to see a basketball game in Grand Rapids this evening. Billy won't be going as he has a big football game tomorrow evening, and he's to play quarterback. We phoned the Marguerites last Friday evening to find out how Uncle Si was doing. Uncle Si had come home to Marguerite's that p.m., and we talked to him. He sounded pretty weak and not peppy as usual, but he said the doctor said he was fine and would gain back his strength, but it would take him time. He said Diantha would drive him up if the doctor said he could come, but he still wants to come alone if he can. Albert Horton is in the Chicago area and attended his grandniece's wedding Saturday night. This Saturday, Bob and Jean, Bee's niece, and her hubby are coming up through Michigan on their vacation, so we'll leave Albert off here Saturday noon. Sunday is our church rally and homecoming, and that will be a big day. Wish you could all join us here then. We hope all of you are feeling okay. How's the horse deal coming? Sounds so exciting. God bless and guide you really good. Love and prayers. Dad and Mom. P.S. I cleaned my windows and screens Saturday and they look nice. We still have fleas, though.